Hi, I'm Nobuko Miyamoto here in Los Angeles, but I'm going to be coming up to the Bay Area soon. To show the film Nobuko Miyamoto, A Song in Movement, which speaks about my long history of being a child of Japanese American internment and becoming an artist and coming into my own voice when I joined the Asian American movement and the movement in general for peace and freedom and liberation. And we, at this moment, I feel it's an important time to gather and to know that we've endured a lot and we can overcome this period. Um, and it's important, I think, intergenerationally, those of us who are elders or older and who have seen this, um, and know that we have the ability to imagine and change this world and resist what's going on. So that's why I'm coming.
I love it. And in your writings and in your work and in your singing, you talk about gaman. Gaman shite kudasai. Endure. We can get through this. Why is that particularly important right now? On April 3rd, there was not only was it my birthday, but also President Trump sent down the mandate 10 days to eliminate DEIB from all these schools and programs and all of this. So to me, it makes your work more important than ever. But what's your take?
Well, gaman is a very sort of basic tradition in Japanese culture that trains us to have endurance and through hard times. And I wish this for all children, for all young people right now. It's important for all of us to have a kind of gaman, to sink into the earth and to know that we will endure this. And we have ideas, we have dreams, we have the ability to create beyond this, and so that's really important.
Thank you. And now I mean, I've had a chance to hear you sing, watch you dance, participate in Obon Odoris that you have choreographed and led. One thing that I especially loved about this film when watching it is that it really kind of incorporated your identity as a mother. I often talk about mothering and resistance, and sometimes how people are really led to be their best self through mothering. Talk about how that was true for you and how that shows up in your film.
Well, sometimes the most challenging moments in our life are the most profound. And my decision to have a child, which in a world that was very uncertain at the time, uh, his father was close to Malcolm X, and he was trying to establish a mosque in the name of Malcolm in Harlem, and in that process, he got killed, and that mosque exists today. And my son went on, and he's an imam. So that that hardship or that challenge was something as a mother I had to learn how to be a mother of a biracial child, to know, to see and be part of the Black world as well as my own culture, and to see the world through more than one eye, one than one view. So that's really taught me a lot. It's made me stronger, and it inspired my work. And I'm a grandmother of four now, and I can see how this world affects them, and the struggles that they have as we go forward. So, I'm not stopping. I think as long as we can breathe and move, we have an obligation to, and the responsibility, and it's a joyful one, to be part of a movement, to be part of the bigger world, to make change.
And your son is now in his 40s, is that right?
He's just turned into his 50s.
Oh, okay, he's in his 50s. So
Yeah.
we still see now, I mean, in a very blatant way, the struggles for racism, Islamophobia, etc. It's very real. Talk about what it was like at that time period. And you have your identity as a Japanese American. So you're raising this African American Japanese American child in this who's also the son of an imam. And now is that what was that like?
Well, because I'm an artist, I wanted him to see through the lens of art as well. So I exposed him a lot to not only Japanese art and Japanese American art and culture, but also the Black world. And I was fortunate to be near Leimert Park and a lot of Black galleries. And so he grew up seeing images of Black people that were beautiful. So he never felt like this thing that of being Black was an oppressive thing. It was a beautiful thing. And it was an expansive and imaginative world. So he always moved around when we went to meetings. He had his Crayolas and his pencils, and he was always drawing. And that's how he kept his himself busy. He drew on everything he could see.
I love that. And I just love that he appeared throughout the film and we saw him as a child, like accompanying you to teach. And then we saw him as an adult coming back with you to look at the space. And so I love that it kind of really showed that aspect of your identity, the undertold story of like mothering while doing artistry.
Yes, oh, my determination at the very beginning that having a child was not going to stop me from doing my work. And it really enhanced what I did because I learned how to work with kids, and I did workshops and created music and pieces for children. So he was included and helped to grow my work and sort of expand my my vision of how to use art and make it participatory for everybody.
And then another thing that was fun for me to see in the film was how you began collaborating with other creative people, including your now husband. It sounds like Tai Chi was an important part of your beginnings. I saw that in the film, and then I went and tried it yesterday. But and I
Good.
loved it. But talk about kind of like the picking up the pieces, like raising this child, continuing your artistry, and also continuing to collaborate and move your life forward. What was that like, and why is it important to see that in the film for you?
I could never have done I mean, I ran an arts organization for 45 years. I established it in 1978. I started doing uh, liberation music, I guess I can call it, in 1970. And so it's all through this time, um, the I saw the importance of what art and music can do to change people's consciousness, how they thought about themselves, how they thought about the world, and what they could do in the world. And but also Tai Chi, and the reason I fell in love with Tarabu was because part of the reason was Tai Chi. When I did Tai Chi, he brought me to Lake Merritt, and on the platform of the was it Arbor, he was showing me Tai Chi, and the river. I mean, then the lake was beautiful, and early in the morning, and the sun hadn't risen yet. And I still do Tai Chi today, almost 40 years later. um, and it grounds me, especially now. And I'm doing it slower than I normally do it because doing it slower is actually makes me stronger and grounds me and the sort of choreography of the certainty and and the clarity of the choreography, of the movements of Tai Chi, gives me that same sense of clarity and choreography that we now must live. Not be blown by all these chaotic, crazy mandates that are coming out and trying to blow us around and shake us up and have us be in fear. We have to be certain of there are so many ways in which we can make beauty and life right now. And we have to continue to do that for our children, for our community, for our fellow citizens. We have to support people and what they love and what they and the beauty that and intelligence that they bring into this world. So we just have to slow down and not be thrown by this. And I know it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot of people. So they need our support, but we can't do it as a frantic, crazy people. We have to do it with certainty and also knowledge that we're going to get through this.
I love that. I'm going to ask you some more questions about the film and your like things that you hope people will take away. But one other thing that I always am fascinated with about you is that you learned first you were a dancer and a performer, and then you came to singing later in life, right?
Yes.
Um, and songs, your songs are very much songs of resistance, I think. So how did you get from dancing to singing?
So I had a full career as a dancer, and I started training when I was seriously training from the time I was 7, and I started working when I was 15 in the film industry and Broadway. And the frustrations that I came upon in doing that work and the limitations that, and sometimes the stupid things that we have to do to make money really disappointed me. That was not my original idea of what dance and having an expression like that and working so hard to 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 be excellent. And so I started looking around, well, what other ways can I express myself? And that's how I started singing. And I was lucky that I had this black coach, coach, Deanie Clark, who exposed me to fantastic, beautiful black women singers like Lena Horne and Nina Simone and showed me that these women could tell a story with a song. And so that's what started planting the seed in my and I studied for years and then when I got in the movement I had this skill and I love music and I Chris Ijima, who was an activist in New York City. I didn't know he could play the guitar and sing and write. He was really a very good songwriter. I mean, I would say that he was the James Taylor of Asian America, and he had a soulful voice. So it was easy to sing with him. And once we stumbled into writing the first song, we realized, oh my God, we never had a song of our own. We never had a song of who we were as a people that young people could identify, that our community could identify with. And that's when we started creating this music and realizing that there was power in this and people gathered around and it helped be an organizing tool and sustaining work for all these years.
And I feel like this is a scene from the film where maybe you and others are performing for an audience with the other Asian dancers, and then you realize, and the crowd is laughing, and then you had this moment where, like, oh, they're laughing at us,
Oh, so
not
this
with
is on
us.
Broadway.
Yeah, talk about that.
I was in a show called Flower Drum Song, which was at that time a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. It was a big hit. It was touted as an all Asian cast. And and we were up on the stage singing this song, Chop Suey, and doing things like that. It was sort of making fun about the idea of Chop Suey. But when I looked out at the audience, mainly white people, I just felt uncomfortable, like they're looking at us in a certain way. And then I realized, oh, we're chop suey. We're Chinese food for white people. We're the kind of representation that they feel comfortable with, that they like. It doesn't make them squirm or anything. And it wasn't real. It wasn't who we really are. So I began to question. At that moment, I was 18 years old. I was and I just, I wasn't, even though I was on Broadway and everybody else was impressed by being there, it didn't impress me in the same way because I knew there was something wrong. I knew that we needed to tell our own stories.
And when you think of your transition from dancing to dancing and singing, would you consider that a pivotal moment on that journey?
Singing was a powerful thing for me because being Japanese American, being Asian American, not only was an oppressive, being I say that we had the word minority tattooed on our bodies, and we were expected to be silent, and we were silent because when people came out of a concentration camp in World War II, they had learned to keep their head down, keep quiet, and keep going. So having a voice, and we don't have, even today, we don't have a lot of singers, Asian American singers. Why is that? It's not that people don't sing in Asia. I mean, they're great singers. But why in this country do we not see more Asian Americans singing, especially women? And there's a reason for that. So for me to break through and to use my voice and singing is about one of the most vulnerable things that you can do. It's 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 your very self being exposed, and so many ideas and emotions come out of singing on a stage. uh, so being able to do that was really a form of freedom for me, um, to be myself on the stage, not singing chop suey, singing the songs that talked about who I was and who we were, uh, and what we wanted to see in the world, how we wanted to change the world. It was a very powerful act. And so, I hope that other Asian Americans see that, and they are. And there's many more voices, but still, we're still underrepresented, I would say.
For sure. And so when people watch this film, in addition to hopefully being inspired by what you've just mentioned, what would you hope that the audience will take away from your film?
Well, one is, of course, my story is the story of many Japanese Americans and Asian Americans. So it's I want them to know that story. And I also want them to know that we were part of a struggle for social change from the 60s. And that, like Black people, like brown people, Asian Americans were there fighting for justice and fighting for equality. All the all the DEI things that they're saying that we shouldn't do right now. We were fighting for that. And and this is a moment, I think, that we need to gather. We need to gather. We need to lean in and think together and meditate on how we're going to bring a new day forward. Uh, that's what I think the film gives us an opportunity to do. Uh, it gives us a lot of of story and ideas that we can think about, and helps conversations going, because I hope that we do converse and it's not just a one-way thing. Uh, uh, and we've shown this film at many film festivals around the country, but the temperature changed after the inauguration. The energy and the intensity of the responses have changed tremendously since the inauguration and these months. The need for this kind of food, this kind of nutrition to 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 build us up right now is really necessary. So I feel, lucky to have this tool to be able to share and to be able to meet people from all kinds of communities and from all over the country. It gives me a view of what's going on in the temperature from everywhere from Boston to Houston to New York to, you know, all up and down the coast to Oregon. We've been to so many places with this film now. And it's beautifully made by director Tad Nakamura and Win Nguyenle, younger generation people who realize that these stories are necessary right now. And I've been able to also go to many film festivals and see films of young filmmakers who are dedicated and clever and deep thinkers and finding so many interesting ways to tell difficult stories. So supporting filmmakers right now and films are wonderful, of course, because it can take you on such a journey. And it's an important time to support artists and filmmakers and ideas that are going to carry us forward.
I love that. And so, as we've seen these mandates, like you mentioned, the temperature changed in the country in January. Although there's a lot of discontent with kind of, in general, the political system and just the
Yes.
two-party system. But the rhetoric was undeniable, right? During the inauguration speech, effective immediately, we're going to do away with DEIB. We're going to acknowledge only two genders. Here's the deportation policy. So that happens. And then we're sort of seeing, so this is impacting places like college campuses. And then we're also seeing a backlash against First Amendment rights, where we're seeing people who are being deported from college campuses for speaking out, for resisting the war in Gaza. I guess, what do you, as somebody who's lived through so much, what do you make of this particular moment in time where there's actually deportation for green card holders for using their voice to resist what's happening?
Um, this is a time that's going to take a lot of courage, not only from younger people, but from college administrators. If every university, head of university stood up and said, we're not going to do this, they could not impose this across the board. If people unite and have their voices heard in the lawyers that are being bought off, this is a very dangerous moment. And if we don't step up to it quickly, it will overwhelm us. So standing together is really important, supporting the students, and the students also thinking carefully about how they express their ideas so that we're not. I think violence is really, we should try not to be violent at this point. The violence is happening from them. The recklessness is happening from them. I mean, to just wipe out the EPA, to wipe out the Department of Education. These are reckless. If we don't have children and young people who are educated and inventive and have imaginations, what kind of a country are we going to have? They can't, and also they can't erase us. They can't. People of color are becoming the majority in this country. There's no doubt about it. You're not going to import 70,000 white South Africans to change that. This is ridiculous thinking. And only if we look at it and show how ridiculous it is, if we make this normal, then we're really in trouble. But if we show how this is not normal behavior, this is not thinking ahead, this is not going to make our country great. If again, what? Again? Just let's make this country great by standing together, by working for the common ideals of that will help everyone, not just one kind of people.
Right. So this is a moment that we're going to need to lean on our gaman to get us through. And what is it that gives you hope? Like you are in your mid 80s. You could say, you know what, I've done a lot in my life. I'm going to sit back and relax and have tea and let other people do it, but you're not doing that. You're keeping on going. So what is it that gives you hope and keeps you going?
Well, I want to be a contributor. I want to be a contributor. I don't want to be a bystander. Uh, as long as I have my health and my mental, my marbles, I want to contribute. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel alive. And I think that I have a purpose for being here and that we all do. And we all make a difference by making these decisions to participate because democracy only works if we participate. The idea of democracy is only becomes real when we participate, and that's uh, in question right now.
Okay. And we're nearing.
Though I would like to slow down a bit. It's been a lot, and what it means is that the more people that are involved, and we carry the weight of this more equally, then it's easier to do. But if only a few people are doing it, then it becomes a really big burden. And so it's important for us to get out and be present when and be seen and be heard and have our uh, words and our presence in whatever way you contribute. It could be by making beautiful food. It could be by, there's so many different ways of making a livable world for and helping neighbors. And so we each have our own ways of doing that.
And I love that this film, like, yeah, you have a busy calendar. I know. And there's a high demand for Nobuko Miyamoto in the world right now. And I think that's beautiful. And I love your spirit. And I love that the film is here. It's not going anywhere. So even in 50 years, people could still look back at this and that means something, I think. What do you think, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned from your years of dancing, resisting, writing, singing, continuing to be a contributor to change for 8+ decades?
Boy, that's not a you
That's just
asked.
a little question.
Well, each of us have a role to play in our own ways. Um, the culture we came from, the families we came from, the skills that we develop. And I think having a skill is really important for young people, or knowledge, or something that you do well. Uh, you're a writer, uh, you're a communicator. This skill is important right now. And we have different kinds of skills that we need. So at the same time that we're active in the world, we still have to build our skill sets and still build our knowledge and how we do things. Young people shouldn't just drop everything and, if they love to sing, sing. But what is the content of what you're singing? What is the content of what you're writing? What is the content of what you're exposing yourself to? Um, I remember when the day of 9/11, when that day that everything's froze and we were watching the television, uh, and planes were hitting the tower, and I went outside at that moment and I opened my door, and there was a beautiful gardenia blooming. And I thought the gardenia needed to do that on this day, no matter what else was happening. It had to create its beauty. And that's what we have to keep doing.
Creating beauty where we can. I love that. Anything else you want to add before we conclude?
Well, I see your children romping around in the background, and this energy is beautiful, you know, and I know you're managing so much, and you do it with grace. Um, I just, you know, we have to have this love. We have to keep loving, keep love going around, and in this madness that we're living in right now, we have to continue loving and seeing that we're connected also. You know, it's a very dualistic world, the us and them world. I think we have to find ways of knowing. It's like the I Ching, you know, we're all part of the same circle, and we may be twisting one way or another at a certain time. But in essence, I am you, you are the other me. We are connected and we are relations. So at the same time we're doing this, resisting, we also know that there are people who believe differently than us that are being harmed by this. That people who went to lynchings, you know, during that era, they brought their children. Their children were harmed by seeing this. So white supremacy is a harming white people as well as it's harming us. Um, and so we have to turn this pyramid of a few people on top and turn it over and make a circle and look at each other as one human race. Ultimately, that's what's going to move us forward in this planet. You know, that we're connected to the earth, we're connected to each other, and why can't we cooperate and trade on? And you do this good, and I do this good. So let's trade. And you know, what is so complicated about this? Why do we have to? It's a very competitive world that we live in. Why does it have to be that? Why can't it be cooperative instead of competitive? And these are questions, these are big questions. And I think while we're fighting us against them, we have to think about how do we go beyond this point?
I love that. We're using our speculative imagination to move toward this world that you're describing right now. I think about it as the rhythm of me and we, and how do you bring those parts together?
Yes.
Before I let you go, can you tell us how we can follow you
Well,
and where we can find the film?
okay. Um, the film is called Nobuko Miyamoto. Now, if you can't spell that, Nobuko Miyamoto, colon, a song in movement. And or you could go to my website, nobukomiyamoto.org, and I'm on Facebook and all the socials as well. So yes, I want to be in touch. I want to exchange ideas, um, and I want people to come to see the film in Lafayette at the,
At the Town Hall Theater, I believe on May 23rd at 7 p.m.
is it the 23rd?
Friday the 23rd.
Yes, 23rd
Okay,
at 7 p.m. at
7
the,
p.m. And there'll be a film screening and a Q&A, and maybe there'll be some embedded a cappella songs by you, perhaps.
okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for what you're doing. Can't wait to see you soon.
Okay.
Take care.